Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's public hearing. My name is Anthony Samancic, and I am the Deputy General Counsel for the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, the MTA. I'm the hearing officer for this public hearing. I would like to introduce some MTA and New York City Transit officials who are joining us for tonight's hearing. To my immediate right is William Montanelli, who's the program manager for the Charleston Bus Annex project. And to my far right is Peter Hine, who is senior real estate manager with the MTA legal department. Everyone who wishes to speak at tonight's hearing should sign the registration form at the entry in the back of this room. If there's anyone here who wishes to speak but has not yet registered, you may do so now, and you may do so up until 8 p.m. this evening. For your information, please note the emergency exits on the perimeter of this room and in the back of the room. They're marked with the red exit signs. This is a public hearing under Article 2 of the New York State Eminent Domain Procedure Law. The topic of tonight's hearing is MTA's proposed acquisition of permanent and temporary property interests that are needed by MTA's affiliate, New York City Transit, to construct a storm sewer under Allentown Lane from Arthur Kill Road to the Arthur Kill Waterway that will serve the new Charleston Bus Annex and the adjacent area. I will refer to the storm sewer construction work as the project throughout my presentation. Notices of this public hearing were published in the Staten Island Advance from Monday, January 26th to and including Friday, January 30th of 2009. Persons who may have some interest in the portion of Allentown Lane, the area under Allentown Lane, which is under the storm sewer, which is along the storm sewer route, were also given notice to this hearing by certified mail. Under the United States and New York constitutions, the government has the right to acquire property for public use, provided that it pays just compensation for the property it acquires. That power is called eminent domain or condemnation, and MTA, as a New York public authority that was created by the state legislature, has been granted the right to acquire property by condemnation or eminent domain for projects like this one. New York law provides many rights and protections for owners whose property interests are acquired by condemnation, and tonight's hearing is just the beginning of that process. In the near future, MTA will make an offer of just compensation to each property owner entitled to receive compensation for the temporary and permanent interests that MTA needs for this project. The offers will represent 100% of MTA's highest approved appraisal for that property interest. And in accordance with the eminent domain procedure law, each owner will have the option of accepting that payment as payment in full or rejecting the offer and seeking additional sums through negotiation or court proceedings. Keep in mind that MTA hopes to acquire as many of these property interests as it can through negotiated agreements with property owners. However, MTA may not be able to reach agreements with some property owners and will be compelled to acquire these property interests by condemnation in order to proceed with the project. In each instance where an agreement is not reached with a property owner, MTA will provide additional notices and information to the property owner prior to starting the formal legal proceeding to condemn the required interest. I'd like to talk about the format of tonight's hearing. It's pretty standard under the eminent domain procedure law. The purpose of it really is to describe the public use, benefit, and purpose of the project, the property interest to be acquired, and the project's general impact on the environment and the surrounding community. The hearing, including all oral testimony, is being recorded, and a transcript of the recording will be made. As you'll notice on the poster that I'm pointing to, the meeting is also being recorded for future broadcast on MTA's website at www.mta.info. You may want to make a note of that if you'd like to see all or portions of that hearing in future. The format for this hearing is as follows. First, I will make an opening statement I will then call upon each person who is registered to speak. For anyone reading from a written statement, I request that you provide me with a copy of your statement if you have one. I also will accept any other written statements today and keep the record of this hearing open until the close of business at 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, February 18, 2009, for the purpose of receiving additional written comments. Written submissions should be sent to me, Anthony Szymanczyk, at MTA, 347 Madison Avenue, 9th floor, New York, New York, 10017, or by fax at 212-878-1240. If anybody would like me to repeat that information, or you'd like a business card where you can reach me, I'd be happy to provide you one after the hearing. The nature of this hearing and format do not permit me and other project representatives to answer questions. This really is not a question and answer type session. However, people from the project were here since 6 o'clock, and we can stay after the hearing if you have any specific questions that we can answer tonight, and we'll also give you contact information upon request so that you can speak to the appropriate MTA official about any questions you may have about the project or the property acquisition process that we don't cover tonight. As with all MTA hearings, we ask that people keep their remarks to 3 minutes or less if possible. And given the fact that we have so few people here this evening, we're not going to strictly enforce that, but just ask you to be brief in your comments if you can. Again, we're going to keep the record of this public hearing open until 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, February 18th, 2009, so that everyone will have an additional opportunity to have their comments made part of the hearing record. I'd like to start my presentation by providing a general description of the storm sewer project. The project involves constructing a storm sewer that will capture precipitation runoff from New York City Transit's Charleston Bus Annex. The bus annex, which is currently under construction and is expected to be completed later this year, is located at 4700 Arthur Kill Road, just north of the Outer Bridge Crossing and Richmond Parkway in the Charleston section of Staten Island. The Charleston Bus Annex will house, dispatch, and provide light maintenance for approximately 220 buses that will be used for express bus service for Staten Island. Staten Island's recent development and population growth and the resulting demand for transit service, especially for express bus service to Manhattan, has severely taxed New York City Transit's ability to provide service from its 2 existing bus depots, which are the Castleton Depot at Castleton and Jewett Avenues in northern Staten Island, and the Yukon Depot located near the Staten Island Mall. The Charleston facility will alleviate current overcrowding at those facilities and thereby enhance New York City Transit's overall ability to provide better service for all bus riders on Staten Island. This hearing, however, is not about the bus annex itself. It's about an important but smaller portion of a project that will serve the bus annex. It's a storm sewer project, and that's the subject of tonight's hearing. We're not really talking about the bus annex, but the project, it's the storm sewer project, which I'll refer to as the project. The storm sewer will serve the new Charleston Bus Annex and other properties along its route. The storm sewer will be installed under existing street beds, starting on Arthur Kill Road at the northwest corner of the new bus annex. The route of the storm sewer will then proceed south along Arthur Kill Road to the intersection of Arthur Kill Road and Allentown Lane, turn west and proceed under Allentown Lane and reach a termination point under Allentown Lane at the Arthur Kill shoreline. Based on preliminary design, the total length of the storm sewer from the bus annex to the Arthur Kill will be approximately 2,300 feet. As part of the project, an outfall structure will be constructed at the Arthur Kill shoreline where stormwater will be discharged into the Arthur Kill. Because the storm sewer will serve both the bus annex and other adjacent properties along its route, the sewer pipe size will increase in diameter as it progresses toward the Arthur Kill outfall. The portion of the storm sewer under Allentown Lane will consist of a pipe that is 54 inches in diameter. When the bus annex is complete, the new storm system at its point of beginning will collect and treat precipitation runoff from the Charleston bus annex. Potential contamination from the bus facility will be removed before the effluent is discharged into the sewer. This will be done through an on-site system at the bus facility that has been approved by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. The system will direct stormwater into catch basins with sumps and hoods that will capture sediments and floatables such as oil, grease, and light trash. From there, all storm sewer will be piped into and pass through two hydrodynamic separators that will capture even more sediments and floatables. The filtered effluent from the hydrodynamic separators then will be discharged into the new storm sewer. As per requirements of the New York City Department of Environmental Protection, which I'll refer to throughout the hearings, the DEP, the storm pipe and outfall will be sized to handle the peak 5-year storm water runoff from the bus annex site, which is estimated to be 15 cubic feet per second based on the storm sewer event producing 1.3 inches of precipitation. Along Arthur Kill Road and Allentown Lane, storm runoff will be collected in new catch basins that will be constructed as part of the project. Along Allentown Lane, the new catch basins will replace existing dry wells that catch runoff that are not tied into any area-wide drainage system. The new catch basins will be connected to the new storm sewer, which will capture storm water gathered along the entire sewer route and discharge it into the Arthur Kill waterway through the new outfall structure at the shoreline. The reason why MTA is progressing the storm sewer project is that the city's existing storm sewers in the vicinity, including a storm sewer under Arthur Kill Road near the bus annex site, are operating near capacity and cannot receive additional storm runoffs efficiently. Although the City of New York has a 10-year capital program known as the South Richmond Watershed Drainage Plan to expand storm sewers throughout the southern part of Staten Island, including the Charleston area, the elements of the city's plan will not be in place in time to serve the new bus annex. If MTA does not advance the storm sewer project on its own initiative, the new bus annex will not have adequate storm sewer drainage away from its site. The New York City DEP will continue implementing other elements of the South Richmond Water Drainage Plan for other storm water drainage areas, and at some point in the future will operate and maintain the section of storm sewer that will be built in MTA's current project, and that will be part of the city's area-wide storm sewer system. I'd like to spend a few moments discussing the property acquisition needs for the project. In consultation with the City of New York, MTA is authorized under Section 126612 of the New York Public Authorities Law to occupy city streets to perform work related to public transportation projects like this one. Because Arthur Kill Road is an official city street that is owned and maintained by the City of New York, MTA is not obliged to acquire any private property interest in the portion of the storm sewer route that is located in the bed of Arthur Kill Road. A different situation exists for the portion of the storm sewer route under Allentown Lane. Although Allentown Lane presently is a street in use, it is not officially recognized by the City of New York as a street under the jurisdiction of the city's Department of Transportation, despite appearing on city tax maps and in other municipal records. Among other things, New York City DEP sewer construction guidelines and requirements oblige MTA to secure a storm sewer right-of-way along the portion of Allentown Lane between Arthur Kill Road and the Arthur Kill that will allow MTA to construct a new storm sewer system at that location, and also to access this sewer for future maintenance and repair without any interference from any potential adverse title claims from adjacent property owners or others who may claim an interest in Allentown Lane. Therefore, MTA must clear title to this area along Allentown Lane by acquiring the storm sewer easements through the eminent domain process if necessary. And it's important to note that we're not acquiring the entire interest in Allentown Lane. We're only acquiring what we need to build and maintain the sewer. For those of you who may not be familiar with the term, an easement is a right to use someone else's property for a particular stated purpose, such as for an access way or utility run that will serve an adjacent property owner. Easements may be temporary or permanent in nature. For this project, both temporary and permanent easements for storm sewer construction and maintenance purposes are required in the portion of Allentown Lane that I've described. The easements will be located in a corridor that's 40 feet wide, 860 feet long, and as far as 60 feet below the street level. The temporary and permanent easements will cover the entire roadway of Allentown Lane as constructed, and relatively small slivers of additional property along Allentown Lane that are included in the deed descriptions for Richmond County Block 7596, Lot 1, and Block 7614, Lots 1 and 20. And I should mention that, at the sign-in table we have a copy of some handout materials that show the specific location of the easements that we require, as well as a public hearing notice that was sent to property owners and published in the newspaper. So it's a little easier to follow along if you have those handouts. For your reference, Block 7596, Lot 1 is located on the northerly side of Allentown Lane, and Block 7614, Lots 1 and 20 are located on the southerly side of Allentown Lane. Please note that although the storm sewer easements will be 40 feet wide and Allentown Lane is listed as a 40 feet wide street in some records, the width of the pavement as constructed varies from 25.8 to 30.8 feet. All work needed to install the storm sewer will occur in that 25.8 to 30.8 portion of Allentown Lane that is currently in operation. The width of the easement will extend to 40 feet in order to comply with New York City DEP requirements and provide an additional work area for future sewer maintenance and repair if necessary. According to our title research and surveys to date, the outer limits of the easement will extend into the deed lines of private properties along Allentown Lane as follows. From between 2.2 and 2.4 feet into the frontage of Block 7614, Lot 20, from between 2.4 and 8 feet into the frontage of Block 7614, Lot 1, and from 0 to 4.6 feet into the frontage of Block 7596, Lot 1. The temporary easements will be for the purpose of excavating the existing street bed of Allentown Lane to install the new sewer pipe, supporting structures, and catch basins. The permanent easements will serve the following three purposes. First, to secure the right to have the new sewer system remain in place permanently. Second, to permit future excavation to maintain and repair the storm sewer system. And third, to preclude anyone from erecting any permanent structures within the 40-foot easement that would interfere with the storm sewer or with its future operation, maintenance, and repair. The permanent easements will be non-exclusive in that after the sewer construction work is completed, Allentown Lane will be restored to its present condition and may continue to be used as a publicly accessible roadway, the same way that it's used today. The narrow strips of private property that are situated on the outer perimeter of MTA's 40-foot wide easement corridor also can continue to be used by the adjacent property owners, except that no permanent improvements can be built in those strips that would interfere with our ability to, or DEP's ability to access the sewer in the future if required. Although subject to change, MTA anticipates under the current project schedule that it will acquire the various permanent and temporary easement interests for the project in or about this coming June of 2009. The duration of the temporary easements will be set to coincide with the anticipated duration of the storm sewer construction, which currently is estimated to be approximately 9 months. In an exercise of caution, MTA will set the duration of the temporary easements for a longer period of time, and a total duration of 1 year or somewhat longer to provide for any contingencies or delays in the construction schedule. The New York City DEP specified to us the size, location, route, and other design specifications for the new storm sewer system, obliging us to install a sewer large enough to serve both the bus facility and the nearby surrounding area. Because the sewer will be turned over to DEP at a future time and incorporated into DEP's area-wide drainage plan, alternative designs for the storm sewer were not feasible. Designing, constructing, and permanently operating the storm sewer for New York City Transit's exclusive use, or constructing the bus facility without any drainage whatsoever, are the only alternatives to the existing plan, and neither alternative would be as practical, efficient, or free from significant impacts as the present plan is. I'd like to spend a few minutes now describing the general impacts of the project on the environment and the surrounding neighborhood. Preliminarily, I call your attention to the fact that 2 environmental reviews relevant to the storm sewer project have been completed. In 2007, New York City Transit and the Federal Transit Administration completed a detailed environmental assessment of the entire Charleston Bus Annex project, which included the storm sewer construction project, and this was done in accordance with the National Environmental Policy Act, also known as NEPA, and the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, also known as SECRA. Based on the environmental reviews, the Federal Transit Administration determined that the overall project will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts and issued a finding of no significant impact to that effect pursuant to NEPA. In a similar manner, New York City Transit concluded in 2007 that the bus annex project and new storm sewer system will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts, and issued a document called a negative declaration for the project under SECRA. In addition to the environmental assessment, MTA based its conclusion on an environmental assessment form, also known as an EAF, that was prepared in accordance with SECRA. Overall, the storm sewer project will provide environmental benefits to the surrounding area by controlling storm sewer runoff from the Charleston Bus Annex and also handling storm runoff along the new sewer route that is currently not being served with existing storm sewers. Management of storm sewer water at the bus annex will be facilitated through New York City Transit's Storm Water Pollution Prevention Plan for the facility. As I mentioned earlier, the project will follow all applicable New York City DEP regulations and requirements for storm sewer construction. During construction, New York City Transit and its contractors will use all reasonable efforts to minimize disruptions to vehicular and pedestrian traffic and to the surrounding neighborhood. The storm sewer likely will be constructed using the so-called cut and cover technique along both Arthur Kill Road and Allentown Lane. Under this method, a trench will be excavated in the streets, the sewer pipe will be installed within the trench, and the trench will be backfilled and repaved and restored with equivalent asphalt grading after construction is completed. The sewer will be constructed in segments rather than in one continued trench so as to minimize disruption to street traffic and adjacent properties. An existing 8-inch subsurface water pipe that serves hydrants along Allentown Lane will be relocated or replaced during construction. Traffic during the construction phase will be managed under a maintenance and protection of traffic plan. Traffic may be temporarily diverted during excavation and construction, but at least one lane of traffic will be maintained along Arthur Kill Road and Allentown Lane, and access to adjacent properties will be maintained as well. It is anticipated that all of the work at the site will take place inside the boundaries of the street as built, so there should be minimal disruption to adjacent areas. Construction work is expected to take place between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. on weekdays and not on weekends. All applicable New York City noise regulations and requirements also will be applied. New York City Transit will provide appropriate mechanisms for the control of dust and debris, comply with all applicable legal and regulatory requirements with respect to the management and disposal of excavated materials, and ensure that its contractors follow MTA requirements for pest control. As part of the overall project's environmental assessment, New York City Transit's consultants prepared a cultural resources assessment of the proposed storm sewer route and outfall location. Phase 1A of the cultural resources assessment included that the portion of the storm sewer situated within Arthur Kill Road had been excavated significantly during the late 20th century for utility installation and therefore is not likely to be sensitive for archaeological and historic resources. However, because a lesser degree of known utility work has taken place in portion of the sewer route within Allentown Lane and the outfall location at the shoreline of the Arthur Kill, New York City Transit directed its consultant to perform a Phase 1B archaeological investigation for that part of the project. The Phase 1B investigation consisted of excavating and monitoring 26 shovel test pits and 1 backhoe excavated test pit. Associated field work recovered no significant archaeological or historic artifacts and determined that further archaeological investigation was unnecessary because, as it turned out, this area of Allentown Lane and the outfall had in fact been disturbed by previous earth-moving activities. As a result, the project will not have any significant impact on cultural, archaeological, or historic resources. Within 90 days after the conclusion of this hearing, the MTA Board will be asked to approve MTA's acquisition of the temporary and permanent easements that I just described. The Board's approval will consist of approving a document known as the Determination and Findings, the requirements of which are set forth in Section 204 of the Eminent Domain Procedure Law. MTA will publish a synopsis of the Determination and Findings and will provide a copy of the full determination and findings free of charge upon written request. Also, MTA will mail copies of the determination findings to all property owners who may have a compensable interest in the areas of Allentown Lane and the Arthur Kill shoreline where the easements will be located. Any affected party who wishes to file a judicial challenge to MTA's determination and findings may do so only on the basis of issues, facts, and objections raised at this hearing and any written submissions that are submitted to us before the close of the hearing on February 18th. A copy of the record of this hearing will be available at MTA headquarters for examination without charge. This concludes my prepared statement. I'm going to now call upon each registered speaker in the order in which they registered. And I call your attention to the fact that the time is now 7:30 p.m. We will keep registration open until 8 p.m. this evening. Again, if anyone would like to speak tonight and is not registered, you may do so by signing one of the registration forms in the back of the room. I will now call the first registered speaker, Dee Vandenberg from the Staten Island Taxpayers Association.
Hello. Good evening. Number one, and one of you guys up there already knows you're going to hear this. Why are we here? Why are we not in Community Board 3? Okay, he knows he's going to hear that. I'm going to make statements on this issue to give you information. Historically, you guys don't really listen to what we have to say. I'm the person in 2002 who stood up at the first public hearing on this bus annex, although back then it was a bus depot, and said, where are you flushing your toilets and where is your stormwater going? And no one answered me. We now have the answer tonight. Whether or not you're aware of it, I would hope that you are. We have had long discussions with the Director of City Planning. Allentown Lane is a public easement required under the Special South Richmond Development District. to keep access to the waterfront. And I'm sure now you're aware of it because I understand that the director called me today and let me know that he's had conversations. That's number one. Number two, the Tides of Charleston, in their zone change, left a portion of their property manufactured zoned for a private pump station that is hooked into the interceptor at the corner of Allentown Lane and Arthur Hill Road. And we just want to make sure there's no disasters, because we're not a fan of private pump stations. And we want to make sure that this, and we're going to be watching this project very, very carefully. The other thing that we want to make certain is that, is there anybody monitoring this from DEC and also DEP? And just for your information, that I understand, due to the fact that we're on the advisory committee for DEP and DEC, the South Richmond Watershed Program that you referred to is the Staten Island Blue Belt, of which is on hold for this area indefinitely due to fiscal constraints, and I'm sure you guys know about that. So don't look to DEP to take this over anytime soon, because it's going to be a long wait. We will get our comments in by the 18th. I'm hoping, is this the address that we mailed them to that's on this paper?
Yes, it is.
We want to make sure, as you're well aware, of this, in December of 2002, we didn't want this thing here. We wanted it at Rossville. We wanted it on 33 acres, not 10. We did not want it in an area with senior housing that came down the road later. But we have to live with it. We're going to bring up a subject that has nothing to do with this, but I know, because it's not the eminent domain part. A couple of months ago, Senator Schumer gave the MTA $4 million additional money for this bus annex, which is fine. Widen Arthur Hill Road. It is only beneficial to you guys, your bus drivers, the neighbors, because the people that live in that area are in for a long haul here with this mess. And we know how messy sewer work can get, because we're under attack all over the place. So we'd appreciate that you listen and hear us and understand what we're saying. You guys are in Manhattan. We're out here. We walk the walk. Walk it with us. We're not here to criticize you. We're here to inform you of things we told you back in 2002. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vandenberg. The next registered speaker is Dennis D'Angelo from Staten Island Taxpayers Association.
Good evening. Also to travel from the South Shore, there are plenty of venues on the South Shore that this could have been held at. The issue of the restoration after the work, the widening of Arthur Hill Road has been brought up. It's a major issue on the South Shore as far as widening all of our streets to their full width. Fronting the site, it's within your power to widen Arthur Hill, fronting the bus garage. Also the restoration work on Allentown Lane, whether it's going to be put back to what's there now, or there's going to be curbing on both sides, whether there's going to be sidewalks installed. The reason I say this is that, again, we have a dearth of sidewalks on the South Shore, and if we can get an improvement, we would definitely appreciate curbs and sidewalks along Allentown. We understand that you're only responsible in front of your property on Arthur Hill, but since this is a combined project, there will be a restoration, there will be pavement, and we would hope that they would also include the other improvements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. D'Angelo. The next registered speaker is Loretta Casino.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm a resident of the Tides of Charleston, and I'm representing, hopefully, all the people that can't get here, all the seniors that is a really bad night tonight. It's so cold, and it is hard for them to get out and get here. So what I like to do, I really don't know too much about the project. I just moved to Staten Island myself, but I'm very interested in it, and so is our community. But again, a lot of them are seniors, handicapped, can't get here. So I'm going to take the opportunity to invite you to come to our community and maybe explain and help us understand so that we don't have all these things going in your head. And so I'm going to take that opportunity to please invite you to come to our community and help the seniors understand what's going to happen to their surrounding community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Casino. Our next registered speaker is Councilman Vincent Ignizio.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And I too want to echo the comments of what are we doing here. My district is the largest district in the city of New York. It's the size of 1.5 Manhattans, 30 square miles. The location where this is occurring is 16 miles from here. So before I came here, I left my house, I drove to Allentown Lane off the Kill Road, and then I drove here. It took 35 minutes to get here. The distance between, not to mention the time, the distance between would be as if you had a meeting in Battery Park City for a project that was going on in Harlem. That would never occur in any other borough. For us to be here is unconscionable. It's wrong for my community, and I believe the MTA needs to rectify this by having a meeting, even if it's not the official meeting, to have a meeting in the community. The community that we're talking about that's most affected by it, as the woman who just said before me, is a senior community. By definition, they can't get out and drive 40 minutes. There is no public transportation here, even if they wanted to, and you all should know that better than most. And yet, we're here. It's the wrong way to go. And it sends the message to people, and not correctly, that something's up. I don't believe something's up. I think this is ultimately a good project. It has to happen because, as Dee pointed out, where was it going to go? Should that have been pre-planned? Absolutely. It wasn't. So here we are. We need the annex. We need the depot. We fought for it for a long time. We didn't want it in the place where it is. But there are certain corrective measures that can be taken right now. One could be a meeting that happens down there. Two could be the plantings that we asked for. We asked for trees. Now, when you built the Gun Hill Road Depot, they built ball fields for the community under the MTA's budget, and then turned it over. When they built this depot, they're saying, you're lucky you got a depot. We're not going to widen the street, and the plantings we'll get back to you on. So there's an interest that we have to make sure that ultimately MTA is a good neighbor, and time again, they've proven they're not. So I intend on calling upon with my colleagues, Lou Tobacco and Assemblyman Lanza, for you guys to come out. If it's not the formal meeting, just informative. This is a simple sewer project. It's nothing crazy. You're not going to get beat up too bad for this project, maybe for others if you come down. But just to let people know, relax. We're just putting in sewer. We're not going to trample on your property. We're not going to destroy your quality of life. We're just putting in sewer. We're going to maintain an easement, and we're going to go about our way, and hopefully we'll be able to mutually coexist. So those are the issues that we have, and I hope that we can bring those to the people and not have a meeting in Battery Park City for a project that's up in Harlem. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Ignizio. The time is now 7:41 p.m. and at the moment I don't have any other registered speakers. Again, if anyone here would like to speak, please sign a registration form in the back of the room. And if we don't have any other registered speakers at the moment, I'm going to adjourn the meeting until 8 p.m. this evening in case anyone else comes forward and would like to speak at tonight's hearing. As a reminder to everybody, we're going to keep the record of the hearing open until February 18th 5:30 p.m. for the receipt of written comments. Those comments can be sent to me, Anthony Szymanczyk, at the MTA Legal Department, 347 Madison Avenue, New York, New York, 10017. You can fax those comments to me at 212-878-1240. You may also submit statements through the internet to MTA's customer-wide email section at www.mta.info. And contact information appears on the handout material. If you'd like a business card, I can also furnish one of those to come up during recess. Again, we're going to recess until 8 p.m. tonight for, in case anyone else wants to speak at tonight's hearing.
I was just running around today. You got it.
The time is now 8 p.m. and I have called everyone who is registered to speak. If there's no one else who would like to speak and has not already spoken and registered, I will now conclude this portion of the public hearing. As I mentioned at the outset of the hearing, this hearing will be kept open through 5:30 p.m. on February 18, 2009, with the receipt of additional written statements. Written statements may be sent to me, Anthony Szymanczyk, it's S-E-M-A-N-C-I-K, at the MTA Legal Department, 347 Madison Avenue, New York, New York, 10017, or by fax to me at 212-878-1240. Written statements also may be sent to the customer-wide email section of MTA's website at www.mta.info. That concludes this portion of the public meeting. I want to thank everybody for attending and thank all those who served so well to set the hearing up and provide security for tonight's hearing. Good night, everybody, and drive home safely.